Yeah.
So some other things that we can do, just to talk you through the whole distress line, is we have some other things. In addition to the mediums, we also introduced a new substrate, and that is paper. Because as mixed media people, one can never have too much paper, right? It could be ephemera, it could be collage paper, it could be chipboard. For me, I wanted to do a cracked leather cardstock. I've done a lot of different cardstocks. I've done watercolor cardstock, wood grain cardstock, mixed media. Hello, how are you? Mixed media cardstock, all sorts of things. And I wanted to do something that had a leathery texture, but that wasn't leathery. So cracked leather is that texture of cracked leather in a white cardstock. It's 111 pound. It's a little bit lighter than our watercolor cardstock. Smooth on the back. But the great thing is that when you add ink or paint, I mean, it looks like cracked leather. So this could go onto a box, this could go onto a journal, this can go onto a planner. You can punch through it, you can die cut. It's just cardstock. So when you work with it, you have some options. We can use our distress ink over the top of it. We can blend with a blending brush. We can use our crayon. We can use sprays. And all of our color really gets impacted by that texture. So I'll take, Sharon gave her my ink tool. I got another one.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, of course.
Are you going to be doing the distress oxides in little cubicles?
There are no immediate plans. They've been working on it since Oxide came out, but they're not stable in this size. The dye and pigment they want to break up the party.
Oh.
So until they figure out a way to get that formulation to sit like that, but they've been working on it now. How long have Oxides been out? 2 years? 3 years?
3 years.
Just seems like yesterday. 3 years? Yeah, I mean, because I wanted that since Go, because the minis were so popular, but it's something about, I don't know, surface tension and dye and pigment not getting along, and it's a chemist thing, but he's working on it. So I'll never say never, but I will tell you that it's not going to be anytime soon.
Because one of my ladies wants to use those on her Bible.
Everybody wants to use those little babies, but that's it. Yeah, the little ones, it's a different thing. There's just not enough area there for, I guess, that dye and pigment to coexist. But they are working on resins to try to keep things together. So it's promising. You just wait. Just wait until they do it, sure. So here's some things to know about cracked leather. First of all, we can see the texture. Now, the lighter you apply color, so if you go with a blending tool, right, you can lightly hit the surface, and that's just going to hit the high points, and that's going to leave that white crackled area. So you can do this with like hickory smoke or anything like that. Or we can take our inks, whether we're doing spray stains, oxides, anything like that. We can wet that and we can allow the color to go inside. Or if you take your inks, apply them to craft matte, medium matte, anything like that, spray with water, hit the top, we can get that ink to really start to sit and pull up in the crack. So depending on how much texture you want to add, you can. I learned the dark, this one, I learned this trick from Stacy. Yes, I did, when you did that wood grain thing, because one of the cool things, you see this white layer, that's adding paint over the top. And to me, that changed everything. That really brought that texture back. So I did my ink, I did all that cool brown, and the more I was adding, I'm like, oh, this is cool, but then when it dried, I'm like, I don't really see the texture anymore. It has so much stuff. I even tried some crayon, and then she did a tutorial, which is like a little bit of distress paint, like almost non-existent, and then you just start gliding over the top of it, so just a little bit of ice spruce. It's like, wow, that's all it took. So that's one of the cool things to know if you ever, and I've remembered that now, that anytime you do something, whether it's an embossing folder or textured paper, and you add your color and you've lost the texture, if you add something opaque to the top of it, really light, crackle, everything becomes like, those are all undertones and it's all good. So I mean, I even had some samples like we got some wood grain cardstock. Yeah, same thing, wood grain, right? So things got a little crazy for me. You know, I was enjoying the oxide, I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, this is awesome. And then when I was done, I'm like, this is invisible. Like, I mean, I saw nothing, but the blue was awesome. And I'm like, okay. So then I just went in with a little bit of brown and just kind of hit those high points. And then I'm like, I love this. So yeah, that to me is what's important, is sharing all those tips and tricks. So people that share all their little secrets, isn't that what it's all about? Like sharing, not like, I'd love to tell you how I did it, but no, that's a cool thing.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to give our video a thumbs up and subscribe to Scrap Time videos for all the Creativation 2020 coverage.